Hello everyone, welcome back to this game. My name is Draygone the Will and Fuzzbottom Jr. and these are some of my patrons. Snow Kieran, Hidaru, Theo Vellum, and a special thanks to my special sponsor, Lit Dragon. Previously on Variant... Actually, why is this game called Variant? I don't think we were ever told that. Maybe it has to do with the variety of options you have during battle. Anyway, previously on Variant, we went to the shrine in our hero's hometown, Harvest Village. And as it turns out, that shrine is the home of the spirit of Guardia, the very same Jinn who is friends with Dragon. So the plan here is that Guardia is going to try to soothe Dragon's rage. Whether she'll actually be able to do that or not, who knows. There is a slight problem, and that problem is we kinda accidentally destroyed Guardia's shell a while back in that pyramid, so she's not going to be quite at her full capability. Meanwhile, we also got Aaron to deal with. You know, that bard who has been pestering us throughout this adventure. He wants Dragon to be released so that he can use his bard powers to take control of Dragon. Unfortunately for him, Dragon is deaf, so that probably won't go very well either. Regardless though, he really wants to do this. Why? Well, Aaron used to be a hero, but nobody took him seriously because he's a bard. And so he's decided that if people aren't going to be taking him seriously as a hero, maybe people will take him seriously as a villain. It might result in the end of the world, but he doesn't care. And unfortunately, with Dragon's successful release, the end of the world might happen. Did you do anything other than run away in Tempest? Dragon fights for... oh. And there was some rumbling. And some more rumbling. Finally, my chance has arrived. Don't be dense! You're lucky you were spared in that fight, Aaron. We already told you he won't. I need to know for myself. If you're so sure I'll fail, then you don't need to worry. I'll have had my answer. Guardia! I'm sorry, but there's no time. Dragon is engulfed in rage. I could only hold him off for so long, but now... Boy, look out! Aaron! Not a music lover, huh? Guess you're dusty like the rest of them. We cannot lose hope. If Dragon leaves this cave, your world is doomed. Dray, for all of those who have fallen before you, you must be the one to end both Dragon and my own cycle. You must stop him here and now. Okay, time for the final battle. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, hey. Okay, well, first things first. Apparently I'm not restored for this fight, which, that makes sense. Second, what's your deal? 15,000 HP. This'll take some work. Although I notice he's got no strengths or weaknesses. Uh-oh, there's that intelligence plus amount over there again. Not entirely sure what that meant the last time I saw that, but it's obviously going to mean that I'm going to be taking some damage here. So do I want my sword or do I want my staff for this? I'll try my sword for the... No. Raise luck and defense or raise intelligence. I'll start off with my sword and maybe switch to my staff a little bit in. Whoa. Okay. Ow. Okay, I need to kind of get in there maybe with... Oh no, I didn't aim. Whatever works. That didn't work. Ha! Got him! Uh-oh. Oh, ow, ow. Whoa, whoa, boy. Okay, time to heal. Time to heal. As long as I don't forget to heal, I should be good for this fight. Mmm, fish. How convenient we're at a place where I can cook it. Huh. It knew that I recovered my mana. Oh, boy. Gotcha. Also, I noticed that there's no markers on the side of this battlefield to indicate we can flee. So we can't flee from all boss fights in this game. Also, you'll probably also notice that the whole situation with walk animations versus standing animations is still in play with this fight. Oh boy, this is taking a lot of hits, but getting some good bonus damage there. Ooh, good one. Uh-oh. Okay, come up here so that I can... What were you doing just then? Whatever. Got ya. Well, we're halfway through this fight. Uh-oh. Ow. Oh, whoa, 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 what a, whoa! It's a good thing I blocked that. That looked like it could have hurt. And got him again. Oh. I don't know what is the deal with that random wind spell there. Ow. I think I'll go ahead and heal again. Just in case. Alright, got him in the look again. I'm definitely going to say that the grinding I did for equipment has definitely put me at a good level. Ugh. That hit me. I'm sure there's a way to dodge that attack. Ow. I just need to start moving as soon as I see it coming. Okay, this might be it. If not, I'm going to want to heal again. Almost. Got him. Thank you. You're welcome. Later. By the way, you can have different kinds of text messages. Not just the kind in the bottom, but also any message box around the screen. Aww, he just got kissed. Oh, we finally get to see the king and queen. And hey, you're actually taking advantage of the camera some more here with this. Well, let's see here. How do I explain this? Under normal circumstances, you cannot have the camera move around outside of just like height and angle. What Sunstorm is doing here is he made the player character invisible and is having the player character walk around in order to move the camera around. I'm surprised you waited until now to do that. Wow. So he's actually dead, huh? Huh. Ooh. She has definitely been working on her boat. By the way, RPG Maker 2's draw distance sucks, which is why most of the game is spent with an overhead view. I'm liking this ending. I mean, I guess we eased Dragon's anger, which is weird and confusing, kind of. Wouldn't have minded a little bit more elaboration on that. Welcome home, Dray. Alright, party's over. Good guy wins, bad guy loses, etc., etc. Or just one, etc. What, you're doubting me? You think I'm evil? No. Should I? Buddy, the show's over. There's no more plot twists, no more enemies. It is the end. So I'm gonna press a button right now, and that, in fact, Variant 2016, inspired by Sword of Vermilion, Lufia, and various RPGs, and my determination to complete a project. Sword of Vermilion. I know that game. Isn't that also an RPG Maker game? I'm not sure. I know Lufia is not. Press the button again. Thanks for playing. Losses 4. Okay. So, enemies defeated 1268. Of course, at least one of my losses was intentional. Would you like to save? Sure. I'm not sure what this is gonna do. I don't know there's a new game plus or anything. I mean, it'd be interesting if there was. Okay, we're back to the title screen. So I'm just gonna go ahead and real quick load up that save. Opening? Huh. So let's actually make a little confirmation about whether we got ourselves a new game plus going on here. Okay, so let's see where this puts me. It puts me in town. Do people say anything about the situation? It's only a matter of time before a dragon returns to destroy us all. Well, I noticed that the map situation is still turned on from the final dungeon. But given what people are saying anyway, it's probably a safe bet that saving the game, sure, we were able to do that, but it does not open like any epiloguing, and in fact, we probably would refight the final boss if we went back to the final dungeon. And of course, I'm going to test that theory. Okay, can confirm everything is in its place and I can redo the final battles if I wanted to. So, not really sure if there was any real reason for me to have the game saved, aside from maybe because I gained some levels and found some treasure and I might want to keep those, but otherwise, I see no reason to continue playing the game. Therefore, I'm gonna see if I can find some enemy to go ahead and kill me so that I can return to the title screen. And the reason why I wanted to return to the title screen is so that I can go ahead and review this game that I have played. First things first, I'm gonna say this right now. This is, so far, the best game that I've played on RPG Maker 2. And don't get too excited, it's not the best RPG Maker game in general. The Spiteful Dead on RPG Maker 1 is still my favorite. But this is definitely up there, and definitely the best on RPG Maker 2 thus far. Now, let's see here. Let's start with the story. The story is alright. It's not the best story ever, although it certainly got interesting towards the latter half of the game. What with those books that I found regarding Guardia and her friend the dragon, and also that cutscene where Mount whatever erupted was kind of interesting. And of course, that entire sequence of events surrounding the final battle. That was, wow. That's definitely the highlight of the game right there, at least story-wise. Now, the first half of the game, though, the story wasn't that impressive. It was sort of just there. And I've also mentioned this multiple times, but it would have been nice had Rebecca had more of a presence. She mainly just sat there at the end of dungeons. So that is my thoughts on the story. Graphically, I also want to mention that this is definitely a good looking game. A few dungeons could use some objects here and there to spruce them up. They looked boring otherwise, but most of the dungeons, and especially the towns, definitely look nice. I will say I think there could have been a little bit more advantage taken of the fact that RPG Maker 2 is a 3D RPG Maker. Like, look at that scene right there. Imagine if that scene took place in this game. Like, if we have some bridges going on here and there and that sort of thing. Of course, comparing this game to this opening sequence is a little unfair. I mean, it's entirely possible to create what you see in this opening sequence, but still a little unfair. This is a show-offy opening sequence. Overall, yeah, it's a nice looking game. I'm definitely glad you took advantage of the camera angles, because I have not seen many RPG Maker 2 games take advantage of the 3D camera. I want to say the only games that did were, let's see here, SD Paradise had very little camera movement. I think basically the camera would just zoom in on certain cutscenes, and that was it. And then there was Sword of Vengeance, which had one good cutscene in there, but the game was cancelled, so there could have been more if the game was finished. And no, I think that's about it. Man, People need to take advantage of RPG Maker 2's 3D-ness. After that, I'd say, well, let's go ahead and talk about the battle system, because the battle system is definitely the highlight of this game. That was really impressive. Not only the fact that you have an action battle system, but you have an action battle system with context. The fact that you have these 4 different weapon types and each of them gets swung in a different way, and it actually matters how they're swung in different ways. I mean, if you were to take the lazy way of this, you just have all the weapons swing the same way and they'd all hit the enemies the same way. But no, you went the extra mile with that, and that is impressive. Not to mention, of course, having some enemies weak against certain weapons. On that note, I noticed that the Coral Sword seems, or not the Coral Sword, the swords in general seem to be the balanced weapon. There didn't seem to be any enemies that were specifically strong or weak against it. It was just your average sword. Like how Mario is the average character in a Mario Kart or that sort of thing. That's kind of interesting how that is. So the other weapons are there for more advanced players in a way, I guess. It was also cool how you managed the magic spells in the game. There weren't very many of them, but what there was definitely some interesting variety with the way each one worked in a different way and weren't just elemental and that was it. I mean, the earthquake spell and the dark spell I barely took advantage of, but maybe that's just me. Maybe other people would have taken more advantage of it, especially if those spells had the person's favorite color. That was also another interesting thing, with the favorite color going on and that affecting your favorite, or the powerfulness, usefulness of certain spells. Really wonder how much more useful those other spells might have been had my favorite color been more appropriate for them. And also there's the job classes. I don't feel like I need to go into detail about those because I already went into detail about those an episode or 2 or 3 ago, where I gave that advice about like maybe having the cleric have a more powerful healing spell, that sort of thing. So I don't need to go into detail about that. Other than that, I think that's about it. At least as far as the review goes. I do, at the very least, want to check out what is in the game here. Oh yeah, and something else I forgot to mention, the layouts of the dungeons were fine. Although it would have been nice if a couple of the dungeons had some save points in them. Especially Tempest. So I'm going to go here in the script editor because I kind of want to give you an idea of, oh boy, how difficult it is to actually work with RPG Maker 2. Can you make any sense out of this? Neither can I. At some point I'm definitely going to want to really, at the very least, learn somewhat of how this all works. But yeah, look at this. This is just a script for the final boss. Can you imagine how much work and knowledge it would take to create this? Sunstorm really needs credit for this impressiveness because, boy, what a mess. Not at fault of Sunstorm, of course, but at fault of RPG Maker 2. Heck, this isn't even the final boss. This is the cutscene that takes place before the final boss. So, all of this just for a cutscene. So here we are in the town of Jumbopper, and over here in the corner you can probably see why I was a little worried about looking in here too early, cause spoilers. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in here, and so yeah. Here's part of the ending cutscene right here. This is where it took place. I actually already looked at Jumbopper earlier in this playthrough because I was curious if I could find anything to talk about throughout the playthrough. Then I saw this scene and it's like, oh, I don't want to see this. Don't worry though, I didn't realize what was going on. I actually saw Aaron on the pedestal there, except it's not a pedestal. And I thought he was being celebrated for something heroic, except he's not. He's actually supposed to be dead. It's a good thing you don't actually get to see him transparent here, because then I might have actually been clued into what's really going on right here. So the fact that he was dead is certainly a surprise to me. Also, because I'm not going to get this opportunity anywhere else, here is what it looks like from the back view. And oh boy, am I getting some slowdown going on here. It probably has to do with all of these cubes lying around the place, or at least part of the reason. All those cubes represent the boundary of the area. If I touch one of them, I would leave the area. So if you ever wanted to see what this place looked like from the back view, oh boy. That's where the slowdown is heaviest, right around here. So yeah, now you got a back view of this place. And then here we are in one of the battle scenes, this being the battle scene for Tempest. I kind of wanted to take a look at what was outside the boundaries here. There's not a whole lot, but I'm definitely seeing a lot more than I did when I was able to battle in these places, because you certainly couldn't see what all was over here with this. In fact, Tempest had 2 battle scenes. Here is the other one. It actually appears like there's a path going off from one side of this battle area or the other, but what you don't see is that it just ends. Also, this kind of confirms something that I have been wondering, is whether all of these battle scenes were on the same map or not. Nope, seems that each battle scene in this game is actually a separate map. However, apparently, the 2nd through 5th floor of the battle tower is all the same map. And that would be this map right here. Every floor where I fought those monsters was this map right here. And here we are in Galidia. Now before I move on, I do want to mention that I'm not going to be showing off every map in the game because we'd be here all day if I did. But I just wanted to show off a few of the ones that I felt worth showing off. And Galidia's situation is because, well, we've been here several times, so why not show it off? I also want to point out how cumbersome RPG Maker 2 is to use. So right now we're in the mode where I'm just getting an overview of the place. Now if I want to place my character down like I did earlier, what I have to do is hold square and press R2. And that gets my character down there. Now initially, your character, whenever you're in the preview mode, is all jerky when he moves around. To fix that, I hold triangle and press L2. And now that... no wait, L1? Yeah, it was L1. See, it's really confusing, the button combinations. The developers of RPG Maker 2 didn't feel it was worth just, you know, making a menu that you could open to change these things, but that's how you do it. Also, you know how in RPG Maker 2, in order to move the camera around, you simply have to press the L and R buttons? Well, first off, that doesn't work because pressing L1 or L2 raises your height above the ground. Not that that does a whole lot of good, because as soon as you start moving, you move back down to the ground. But if I want to move to the camera, try that again. If I want to move the camera around, I have to hold R1 and press on the directional pad. And in particular, I wanted to do that here because I wanted to see what was behind this building. Because I noticed while I was playing here that I was bumping into something behind the building, but I couldn't see it. Apparently it's trees. Oh, by the way, in order to zoom the camera in and out, holding R1 and rotating the left analog stick. RPG Maker 2 is cumbersome. Also, the back of this building over here, completely flat. Oh, and by the way, in order to be able to exit this map, I have to hold square and press R1 to exit that preview mode, and then I have to press the select button to exit that. Oi, it's no wonder that people don't use RPG Maker 2 very much. And the last map that I want to take a look at is Harvest, because, of course, Harvest is our character's hometown. So, of course I'm going to be taking a look at this map. There isn't really a whole lot to see here, but I just wanted to take a look at it and see what it looks like from the back side. because it's definitely interesting being able to take a look at different camera angles from places like this, because we didn't really get that opportunity while we were playing the game, primarily because of the shoulder buttons being used for casting spells in this particular game. Also, if we try looking around the town, we'll see that we're basically surrounded by a ridge of some sort. Also, while I'm at it, this is the draw distance of RPG Maker 2. That's as far as things render. Although it's interesting that buildings render even when they're mostly off-screen. I guess because, well, it'd be sucky if they didn't render until they were already mostly in your face. By the way, if you really want to know how hard RPG Maker 2 is to use, then look no further than trying to create items. So let's go ahead and take a look at the veggie. Now, in most RPG Makers, you would basically set the price and how much it's worth if you try selling it and that sort of thing. And at some point in these menus, you would also find a screen where you can set how much it heals. Not in RPG Maker 2. No, in RPG Maker 2, you have to create something called a direct effect, or an indirect effect. In this case, it's a direct effect. And we'll go ahead and go to the direct effect, and, well, we get even more menus going on right here. Now, you might be wondering, okay, well, we're in the direct effect. Where's the point where you set how much it heals? Well, that would be somewhere around here. I'd say right about here, the success. Let's go ahead and open this, and we're in the event database. Okay, so now it's an event? Really? Well, here's all the information for eventing. Well, how does this work? Oh, it's right down here where you apply things. So let's open that menu, and now we're in the script database. That's right. In order to create an item that simply heals HP, and also makes you less hungry, you actually have to go through all that just so that you can actually script how much it heals. It's way more complicated than it needs to be. I find it interesting, by the way, that it's actually set to a random number, so it doesn't actually heal exactly 20 HP. That is something I never noticed before, probably because the game never told me. But, oi! This is why people don't generally use RPG Maker 2. Heck, even just going back to RPG Maker 2's title screen is more complicated than it needs to be. Let's go to File, and title screen is grayed out. Before we can return to the title screen, we must first choose Delete All. This will close out everything in this game and empty the database, and only now can we go to the title screen. So at this point, I feel like this is going to be a two-part finale. I have a pretty good idea where the first cliffhanger will be, but this two-part finale is called Ambition. That not only refers to the ambition of Aaron, but also the ambition that it took to actually create this game. Sunstorm, the fact that you were willing and able to create this game using such a tool as this is certainly impressive. Like, wow. There's nothing else I can say about that. It's just impressive. Well, with that out of the way, I guess it's time to go ahead and bring this Let's Play to a close. Now, before I finish closing this, well, I'll explain something really important after I say that down at the bottom of the screen is all of my patrons. Okay, so here is what I want to bring up. In regards to the next game that I'm going to be playing, the next RPG Maker game. Now, earlier in this playthrough, I said that it would probably be Arc Aerith. Well, that's not actually going to be the case, and I have a good reason why. It all has to do with Diet Dre. Yeah, I talked about that show earlier in this playthrough, and indeed, I am going to be bringing it back. In fact, I'm going to be bringing it back on a separate channel, because it's gonna be not quite the same as Let's Plays, and so I want to separate it from my Let's Plays because not everybody likes Let's Plays. So putting it on a separate channel would keep it nice and tidy and separate from all of my Let's Plays. And since I am starting up a new channel, that means it's basically going to be a fresh start, especially when it comes to RPG Maker. And since it is a fresh start, I think a proper introduction, well, reintroduction of RPG Maker is in order. So for the beginning of Diet Dre, which will happen sometime next month, I'm going to go to RPG Maker 1, and I'm going to go ahead and give an overview of RPG Maker 1 because, you know, it would be neat to have a YouTube video that actually talks about RPG Maker 1. And I'm also going to be going over the sample game that comes with RPG Maker 1, Gobbling. And Arc-Aerith will come at some point after that. Now, it's worth noting that Diet Dre will not be exclusively about RPG Maker. I'm also going to be covering some other games, primarily RPGs that are really slow-paced and grindy, like Dragon Quest or Breath of Fire. No promises on what games. So that is the situation with that. Is there anything else? Well, I will say this. We never did get the answer about the camera hovering up and down. That's pretty much it though. I'm looking over my notes and there is nothing written here that I haven't already brought up. So I guess that means we are done. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.